It's Waterfowl Wednesday, and we've got a Bruins preview ahead of you. That and more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everydayers. Thanks for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Kyle Carr, and I am a lifelong Anaheim Ducks fan, and I've been covering collegiate sports for multiple years, as well as college hockey. But today we are talking Anaheim Ducks. First off, we got to talk about what happened against the Canes and kind of what's going on with the Ducks team right now. Then we're going to get into Waterfowl Wednesdays and then break down the preview for the Bruins on Wednesday night coming into the Honda Center. So first things first, Sunday, unfortunately, Anaheim drops this game to the Hurricanes with a 5-2 loss. Ducks came out a little flat at the beginning. And of course, they give up the first goal. Unfortunately, the Ducks right now, 7 out of the last 10 games, the Ducks have given up the first goal to the other team. That is just not a recipe for success if you're trying to win, especially down in the stretch. And unfortunately, I think it's about that time that Anaheim is no longer looking at that playoff spot. I think they got to finish the year strong, but it's about time to write off our losses and just kind of enjoy the rest of the year stress-free as much as we can, that we are not having hockey in June again in Orange County, unfortunately. Just kind of looking at how things have went for Anaheim. Like I said, they lost that game to Carolina. There was a lot of positives. Looks like they were going to come back after that first goal. They did tie it. Then Carolina comes back, scores 2 more. Anaheim gets one, makes it 3-2 with Trevor Zegras getting a nice little deflection. But then Carolina just carries the rest of the game, and the Ducks just couldn't come back. So kind of like this end of the season, that's just how things have been out here in Orange County. In the last 10, they have had 30 power play opportunities, and they have only scored on 4 of them. So the special teams continues to be a problem. That's just in the last 10 games, 30 opportunities and only scoring on 4. When it comes to goal scoring, in those last 10, they were outscored 37-25. So they gave up 37 goals and only scored 25. That's an average of 3.7 goals scored against in the last 10 and only 2.5 goals being scored for in those last 10 games. So that just paints that picture right there, that they are not getting as many goals. They're giving up way too many chances to the other team. When it comes to the power play on the other end, so the penalty kill, they've given up 30 power plays to their opponents as well in that 10-game stretch, and they've allowed 9 to go in. So they've only scored 4 out of 30, and they've given up 9 out of 30 in the last 10. So just completely, special teams has been just abysmal, and the last month has been a testament to just how bad it's been. In those last 10 games, they have given up they have had 255 shots for themselves. So 250 shots for, and then 329 shots against. So one thing that Cronin has been harping on these guys all season long is to get shots on net and keep shooting the puck. And clearly they have not been doing that, at least not good, solid through to the other goaltender shots. They've had shot attempts that are a little higher up there, but when it comes to actual shots on goal, they just have not been there. And I think that's just due to a lack of honestly driving the center lanes. They keep the puck out to the perimeter a lot. There's a lot of passing, a lot of passive plays as well. So that's a big factor that's going to lead to no success when you're not feeling confident enough to get those pucks down the middle, get them in deep, and get shots on net. And just using it's like the theme of the last couple of weeks has been everyone else kind of handing off the ball, no pun intended, giving the ball to the other player. Like, here, you take the puck, you take it. No, you shoot it. No, you shoot it. And there's just that lack of confidence in each other's shots and having bona fide shooters when it comes to the power play, 5-on-5, the rush. Most of those shots, when they do come in, it's off the rush. And honestly, a lot of the defensive players have been getting more of that offense than the forwards. So the back end's been doing pretty strong, trying to keep these guys in it. But there's just been a lack of scoring as a whole. Right now, in the last 2 games, they had the highest shots out of the last 10 games. So they had 37 shots against Carolina, and then they had 34 shots against Nashville. So their shot count is going up compared to the last few games. Their highest shot that they gave up was to Washington. They gave up about over 40 shots. I think it was like 45 shots or something, 43 shots that they gave up to Washington. So they've at least kept the shot count a little bit down comparatively, but the only building point is that, yeah, their shots are going up. Their goals, however, have been around the 3 to 2 goals scored. The only one that they had more was in Nashville with that 4-1 win. So they got to get above that 2 to 3 goal mark. That's kind of been their crutch for the last month or so. Right now, the Ducks are 31st in power play percentage. So they went from about 28th, now they're down to 31st. There's only one team worse than them in power play percentage, and they are at 12.6% success rate. So not good at all. And they are 29th in the penalty kill. So not much better on that either, with 72.5%. So it just goes to show how not good that special teams has been for Anaheim. Really just do not see how it could get any worse. You would think it'd only get up from here, but I don't know. In the Carolina game, they had 6 opportunities and couldn't capitalize on any of the power plays. 6 power plays, and they got nothing out of it pretty much. So that is just not working out for them. It's even Troy Terry was talking about how we can't be having that many chances and not scoring. Not sure where the lack of breakdown is, why there hasn't been an overhaul with the power play. They continue to do the same thing. They continue to do the back pass. They continue to keep the puck outside. They're not crashing the net. They had that in Nashville. That's how they were scoring all their goals. They were right in the middle of the lanes. They were doing everything right with taking in the center of the ice, but they come back home. They go against Carolina, and it's like it just went out the window. The consistency has not been there. It's really painful to watch. They're 29th right now, 28th in scoring per game. So they have a 2.64 goal average scoring right now, and that puts them 28th. So all the categories that lead to wins, the Ducks have completely dropped in, and they are 21st in goals against average with 3.13. That's the highest level that they're at right now, is goals against average not being too bad. And that's been to a wonderful and amazing successful season by Lukas Dostal and John Gibson when he's been healthy. So really the only thing keeping him in it this year was the goaltending, and even Dostal's numbers have slid a little bit in the last couple of games. And that's nothing against him. It's his sophomore season. Having this many, he's been playing almost the most minutes out of all goaltenders this year. And there's a lot of pressure on the kid, and he's been doing really well keeping the Ducks in it. So the team in front of him needs to do a lot better, and you're going to have wear and tear on a goalie when he's having to make that many saves every single game. So unfortunately, we were hoping for a little bit more success. I was looking at the Ducks building up, and they're having a lot of confidence there at the end of February. So I was expecting a big jump in their play and getting some big wins, and that just did not happen. It seems like things are just kind of going downhill, and they have their bright spots, but then the overall trend has been going downhill. Speaking of going downhill, we've got Waterfowl Wednesday coming up in the next segment, talking about injuries, sicknesses, and anything else that's kind of going wrong with the team. And right now, it seems like there's a lot of that. So stay tuned as we go into Waterfowl Wednesday after this. You just realized that your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Well, it's easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your posts at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. I'm trying to find a project. I need someone that needs to come and edit a program, or they need to work on some photos for me, or I need just an editor for papers, whatever it is, I need to find the right person. I go to Indeed, I put the jobs out there, it gets it right in the right people, and I get to hire someone that actually knows what they're doing. So now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to indeed.com/locked on right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, Locked On Anaheim Ducks. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. And we are back, and it's time for Waterfowl Wednesday. Not too much to talk about this Waterfowl Wednesday, as some Ducks have come back from injury. Sam Colangelo will be making it back into the lineup tonight after he was out for an upper body injury. We'll get into what he had to say about that in a little bit. But first, we got to talk about Isaac Lundestrom and Pavel Mintyukov. Those two were not at practice on Tuesday due to an illness. So it sounds like something was kind of going around, as Nestorenko was out a couple days ago as well. Something is fighting the team, but they did say that they should be back tonight in the lineup against Boston for the Wednesday game against Boston. So good to have those guys back. Don't want to be out for long term, especially when it comes to illness. So they will be coming back. A little scary, but luckily they will be here. They are feeling a lot better. Must have been just a little 24-hour bug. And then Ross Johnston, he is still out with an upper body injury. It's saying they're reporting day to day, but with the lineup that they have, they're probably just letting him heal, and they're not really needing to rush him back in right now, as the forward group is pretty solid in depth right now. And with Sam Colangelo coming back from his upper body injury, that's definitely another step that Ross Johnston doesn't really need to get rushed back into this lineup. And according to Derek Lee of the Hockey News, Sam Colangelo is reportedly ready for Wednesday's game. And his injury that took him out after the Utah game was actually something that he sustained during training camp. And it's been something that's kind of bugging him throughout the season. He was kind of fighting it down in San Diego, decided to keep pushing through it, and then it kind of flared up. And then in Utah, he just noticed that he wasn't playing really at the top level that he could, and it was getting to him too much. So decided it was best for him and for the team for him to take some time off and heal up that injury. And he's been working on the ice, getting things back. So he's feeling really strong, feeling really good about coming back Wednesday against Boston. So he really wants to be up at that level. He even recognized that with the success that he was having and the way things were going with him coming up to the NHL squad, it was a little bummed out to have the injury and have to deal with that. But now he's feeling good, and he's ready to get back at it and kind of get back onto that scoring pace. So really good to have him back. Sam Colangelo he had like three or four goals in his couple of games up. So he was getting a lot of scoring, playing really well with McTavish and Gauthier. But we'll see what lines he's on later in the show as he does come back. Gibson did return last week as well. He had the injury after the collision that happened in Vancouver. And then he comes back against Nashville, gets the win. He's looking really solid. So it's good to have him back. The tandem of Dostal and Gibson is always a great sign, especially if you're rooting for Anaheim. You definitely love to see both of those guys healthy and back. And little fun fact about John Gibson and his career with Anaheim, he is only 3 wins away from beating out J.S. Jaguar for the franchise leader in wins by a goalie. So definitely a record that John wants to beat, and hopefully the team in front of him can help him get one game closer to that against Boston on Wednesday, which is tonight if you are listening to it. And just speaking of fouls, and it's, my little Waterfowl Wednesday segment, just mentioned it in the beginning of the show, but the special teams for Anaheim is the biggest waterfowl on this team. It has been leaking. It has been draining. It's everything that is wrong, that could go wrong, has been going wrong with the special teams. And every time I think that there's going to be some change, there's going to be some work. You read the reports, they're practicing and they're spending time on the special teams, and that's what they're focusing on at practice. And then the game comes and it's like nothing changed, nothing happened. They mix up the lines a little bit, but the overall structure of the power play and what they're attempting to do has not changed. It is the most insane entrance. Every penalty kill that's against the Ducks knows exactly what they're going to do. They're going to try to break through. They're going to drop back down the pass. So they just need to clog the neutral zone, make it hard for them to enter. And then when they try to dump it in, just go chase the puck. The Ducks are not getting to those 50-50 pucks. They're not the first ones down on the forecheck. So they just clear it out, send it back down the ice, and the Ducks have to try to re-enter. I don't know how many times on the TV broadcast that Brian Hayward is just disdained with how the entries are not happening and the Ducks cannot start any type of offensive pressure and zone time on the power play. It's almost like they're the ones on the penalty kill, and it's just gotten to a point of like, doing the same thing again and again, and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And I'm starting to feel insane talking about this power play every single game, and it hasn't changed. I don't think that Brent Thompson and Richard Kloon will be back next season. They've been the ones in charge of special teams, and it just it's not translating. So if Cronin's still around, I do not see Thompson and Kloon coming back. So unfortunate for them. Don't want to see anyone lose their job, but it just has not been NHL quality when it comes to the special teams. And then a big thing is the consistency. The team needs to have more consistent play. Cronin has been harping every post-game, post-practice, post any interview that Cronin does. We need consistency. The team they need to play. We're trying to get these guys to have a consistent 60 minutes. They come out flat at the beginning, then they get their feet under them, and then they play well, but then they can't capitalize. And it's like just a broken record right now. And I really don't think it's the players. I don't see players don't just give up or shut down. Like they're always wanting to win. It comes to the structure and the foundation of the team and what systems they're being coached and the way that they're being taught to play and what's expected of them. And when you feel like whatever you do on the ice and you're going to come back to the bench and you're not going to get recognition for it, you start to tune out the coach, you start to tune out the negatives, and that's how you lose a locker room. And we've heard rumors before, so I hope that the players aren't completely tuned out on Cronin, but something has to give, and it needs to. Obviously, we only have so many games left, so I don't think it's going to be this season. But next year, I really, really hope to see a bigger change and a lot more consistency in the beginning of the year and then throughout the rest of the season. A full 60-minute playoff style game out of the Ducks would be just fantastic to see. Speaking of playoffs, two teams that are not going to be in the playoffs this year, Boston and Anaheim, they are playing tonight, Wednesday, in the Honda Center in Orange County. So I'm going to break down kind of what that looks like and what the lineups are going to be and kind of what to expect out of Boston and what the Ducks need to do going into Wednesday's game. So stay tuned, coming up after this. If you're like me, your mornings have to start with a good cup of coffee. But I got tired of settling for grocery store brands that just weren't cutting it. That's why I turned to Trade. And let me tell you, this coffee is next level. I've been enjoying it so much. Trade is the number one specialty coffee marketplace in the US, bringing you fresh coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Their experts have taste tested thousands of coffees, curating over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or know exactly what you like, they'll handpick the perfect match for you. I took the quick quiz. I told them what style of coffee I like, the flavors I like, the profile I like, and they literally sent me this bag of coffee that I used up in like 3 days. I went through it so fast. I was drinking coffee at times of the day that I didn't need to because it was so good and I just wanted to keep drinking it. So right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 40% off your first order at drinktrade.com/locked on NHL. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/locked on NHL for 40% off your first order. Drinktrade.com/locked on NHL. And we are back talking about what to expect tonight, Wednesday, against the Boston Bruins out in Anaheim at the Honda Center. So the expected lineups based off of practice yesterday and today. The first line is going to be Gauthier, Carlson, and Killorn. And then that second line of Vatrano, Strome, and Terry. And then we got this third line of Nesterenko, McTavish, and Zegras, which should be a really fun line. And then fourth line, Harkins, Lundestrom, and Colangelo. Having that depth with Colangelo down on the fourth line, it's nothing against him. Just that spread of wealth of speed and play style and ability is going to be really interesting to watch tonight, as we've seen Colangelo be able to score. He plays with speed and aggressiveness, and with Lundestrom and how defensive Lundestrom is as a center. And then Harkins, that big body. I think that fourth line is going to be able to shut down those top lines of the Bruins tonight, and especially going against guys like Zadorov, Pasternak. You're going to want to see that physical play style and using that speed. So I love that those guys are on the fourth line. That third line with Nesterenko, McTavish, and Zegras, I expect them to be scoring tonight. A little bit like I want to see McTavish with that next step. And when McTavish and Zegras are playing together, it just seems like they elevate each other. And Nesterenko, we'll get to see him. He's also just got that lanky speed. Love to see the way he enters the zone, and he's been just hungry. And then Gauthier up on that top with Carlson. The two of them, I feel like Gautier's like his confidence level since January, even February. Like when you have Carlson, who went to the Four Nations tournament, his confidence has been off the charts. And then Gauthier, he's been able to kind of recognize that he's able to play in this league. He's been playing the most hockey he's ever played in his career, and now he's still attacking the net. He's rushing the zone. You see him calling for pucks through the neutral zone, just absolutely flying out there. And then to have the veteran of Killorn, who knows exactly where to go on that forecheck. It's just a really good setup right now. Vatrano, Strome, Terry, they've been awesome. Terry, I love it. That guy is my guy. Every little thing. In that game against Carolina, just his angling is so smart. He goes where the puck is going, not where it's been. Like he just is able to read the play so well, and he's able to cut off the half boards. And then when he goes down below the goal line, it's like everywhere he goes, he's winning the pucks. He's just a strong physical force. Love everything about him. He's been getting a couple goals in the last few, so I expect him to have a really good offensive game tonight against Boston. Going to be a really good one. And then Colangelo, little fun fact, he's from the greater Boston area as well. So this is his old childhood team that he's playing against. That's just that there's always that spark of like, oh, I'm going against the guys I grew up watching, the team that influenced me to play hockey. I get to play against them tonight, and that usually brings an elevated style of play. And he's coming back from injury, so watch a lot out of Colangelo. I expect a couple points out of him tonight. Defense is pretty much the same setup. We got Lacombe and Gudas. and Zellweger, Truba, and Minchikov and Hellison. And it is confirmed by Derek Lee of the Hockey News that Gibson has the net tonight. So it's going to be a solid game. Gibson 3 wins away from that record of J.S. Jaguar with the most wins in the franchise history for Anaheim. Let's see if Gibson can get 2 games away after tonight. I really expect this out of the Anaheim Ducks. Boston has been struggling. They're a depleted team right now. The trade deadline completely ruined them. They got rid of so many of their key players when it comes to the Bruins' identity. They still have a couple guys out there. They got McAvoy. They got Pasternak. Zadorov's been a pretty big asset to them, depending on who you ask from the Boston fan base. Some thinks he's a hazard out there. Some think he's great. Lindholm, Elias, and Hampus, they're on the team still. So just the Bruins have good key players out there, but the way that this season has gone was just, it's like finally not having Chara, not having Bergeron, and now Marchand's gone. That top line, everything just kind of diminished from the Bruins this year, and it just was not the way that they needed it to go. They've lost 8 out of their last 10 games, and they're on a 6-game losing streak. That's just, if anyone's doing worse than the Ducks right now, it's the Bruins. They are just hurting. Their last game was a 7-2 loss against LA. Pasternak, he's their leading scorer. Got to keep an eye out on him. He's a fantastic player. That guy's got hands. Him and Dostal went out and won the Worlds for Czechia last summer. So there's a little tension there, some countrymen playing against each other. Pasta knows just how skilled Dostal is. Even though Dostal's not going to be in net, there's still that little bit of rivalry there. I'm sure they'll be chirping from the bench at least. Pasta has 34 goals and 50 assists for the Bruins right now. When it comes to scoring, the Bruins are just under the Ducks. They are ranked 29th, and they have 2.64 goals per game average. So Ducks are at 28th. They are 29th. They're ranked 25th in goals against for their goals against average, which is 3.26. So again, couple spaces under the Ducks. Ranked 29th in power play success. So they're above the Ducks when it comes to their special teams. They're 29th in their power play with a 14.6%. Ducks are at sub 13%. And then the penalty kill for the Bruins is 76.4%, which puts them at 23rd in the league. And the Ducks are down at 21st. So a little bit better special teams for Boston. Not that much better. The thing that they're struggling on is those 5-on-5 goals. So the Ducks need to have a solid 5-on-5 play tonight. Use their rush type mentality. The way that they played against Nashville, the rush play, getting down low, getting pucks in deep, making sure they get to those 50-50 pucks, and just be physical. Because the Bruins, even though they are a depleted team, they don't have much of the core. They still are a very, very physical team that will never leave the Bruins play style. So they got to come in physical, they got to come in fast, and they got to be ready for an aggressive forecheck. And then watch out for Zadorov. Like I said, he's been a beast out there. And Swayman, man, he's been a little chippy. He almost got in a fight with Kemper the other night. So he might be a little frazzled out there. So keep an eye out. It's going to be a rough and tumble game. The Ducks always have had the Boston's Bruins number. So my hope is there that this will be a good win for Anaheim, but you can never, ever count out the Bruins. I've said this before, never count the Bruins out. Especially they're like a wounded dog right now. So watch out for that. They're desperate. They want to win. The Ducks need to win. The Ducks cannot be frazzled. They got to let it just come to them and have a consistent 60 minutes, come out fast, come out strong, and get the first goal tonight, guys. Come on. When the Ducks have the first goal, they've had better success at winning the game. Pretty much every win that they've had, the Ducks have scored first. So first goal of the game needs to be in Anaheim's favor, and the rest will be easy peasy for them. Thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. Make sure you keep subscribing and sharing, like everything. Check out other Locked On shows as well. And we just actually have an announcement for the Locked On Podcast Network. If you have an Amazon Fire TV or your Fire Stick, look up your favorite team. So look up Anaheim Ducks, and when you go there, you will see our podcast on the Fire TV. So keep an eye out for that. If you have that Amazon Fire TV stick, check it out. And again, thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NHL podcast, bringing you the daily league-wide stories that matter with the local coverage you love from Locked On. You find Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Again, I am Kyle Carr. Be good out there.